If you could choose just one movie from 2025 to revisit 10 years from now, which one would it be? The film that made the entire theater fall silent? The one that left you staring at the screen long after the credits rolled? Or the movie that stayed with you, not because of spectacle, but because of how it made you feel? 2025 was a fiercely competitive year for cinema. Blockbusters dominated the calendar. Long-awaited sequels faced impossible expectations. And almost every major release claimed to be the movie of the year, but only a few truly earned that title. Not through hype, but through the experience they left behind. This video isn't based on awards. It isn't shaped by critics' opinions. It's built from audience voices, from viewer ratings, community polls, and real reactions across the world's largest film platforms. These are the movies that audiences connected with the most. These are the films that defined the year, and this is the top 10 movies of 2025, ranked by the viewers themselves. Number 10, A Quiet Place, Day 1. A Quiet Place, Day 1 is not a film that relies on loud scares or sudden shocks. Ironically, its greatest strength lies in silence. Instead of continuing the familiar survival story, this chapter takes audiences back to the very beginning. The moment when the world first starts to collapse, before anyone knows the rules, and before fear has learned how to speak. What makes Day 1 resonate with viewers is its perspective. The film doesn't follow prepared heroes or hardened survivors. It follows ordinary people, caught completely off guard, forced to react rather than plan. That choice brings the danger uncomfortably close. As the chaos unfolds, the audience isn't just watching. They're imagining themselves in the same situation, wondering how quickly calm would turn into panic. Audiences responded strongly to the film's atmosphere. Tension doesn't come from jump scares, but from restraint. Every footstep feels risky. Every breath feels exposed. Silence becomes a constant threat rather than a refuge. And that lingering unease never fully releases its grip. A Quiet Place, Day 1 doesn't try to outdo previous entries with scale or spectacle. Instead, it expands the world emotionally, reminding viewers that the most terrifying part of an invasion isn't the creatures themselves, it's the sudden realization of how fragile normal life truly is when order disappears overnight. Number 9. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes doesn't rush to impress with non-stop action. Instead, it takes a more deliberate, mature approach. Fully aware that the strength of this franchise has never been spectacle alone, but the questions it raises about power, control, and legacy. Set generations after the familiar events of the series, the film presents a world where apes now stand at the center of civilization. Yet, rather than framing the conflict in simple terms, it invites audiences to confront an uncomfortable truth. When power changes hands, behavior often remains the same. Ambition, fear, and the desire to dominate persist. Only the faces have changed. What audiences appreciated most is the film's patient storytelling. It allows the world to breathe, giving characters space to evolve, and decisions time to carry weight. The quieter moments, sometimes heavy with tension, are not pauses in the narrative. They are the narrative. They ground the story in consequence rather than momentum. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes doesn't attempt to reinvent the franchise by erasing its past. Instead, it expands it thoughtfully, offering a science fiction experience that invites reflection as much as engagement. For many viewers, it's a film that lingers not because of what it shows, but because of what it asks. About leadership, inheritance, and whether history ever truly learns from itself. Number 8. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 is not a film that tries to win over its audience with ease. It remains cold, deliberate, and uncompromising, and that refusal to soften its edges is precisely why audiences responded to it so strongly. This is a continuation that demands attention, patience, and emotional investment in return. The second chapter pushes the story beyond discovery and into consequence. Paul Atreides' journey, is no longer about destiny as an abstract idea, but about the cost of embracing it. Power, faith, and control collide in ways that feel heavy and irreversible, stripping the notion of a chosen one of any romantic illusion. What audiences praised most is the film's visual and narrative restraint. Dune, Part 2 communicates through scale, silence, and rhythm rather than exposition. Wide frames, minimal dialogue, and carefully measured pacing create a sense of weight in every scene. Arrakis feels less like a backdrop and more like an unforgiving force shaping every decision. Dune, Part 2 is not an easy watch, but it is a rewarding one. Its impact doesn't come from a single climactic moment, but from the lingering tension it leaves behind. The feeling that something immense has shifted, and that no victory comes without consequence. For many viewers, that lasting heaviness is exactly what makes the film unforgettable. Number 7. Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 arrives with a rare challenge. Following a film that became an emotional touchstone for an entire generation, instead of repeating what already worked, the sequel chooses a more thoughtful path, focusing on a stage of life that is quieter, more complicated, and deeply familiar to anyone who has ever grown up. This time, the story moves beyond simple, easily defined emotions and into a more nuanced emotional landscape. Confusion, anxiety, and inner conflict take center stage, reflecting the reality of emotional growth as something rarely neat or predictable. That shift allows the film to speak not just to children, but especially to adults who recognize themselves in these moments. Audiences responded to Inside Out 2 because of its restraint. The film doesn't push for tears or rely on dramatic highs. Instead, it finds power in subtlety, a pause, a hesitation, a small emotional realization that quietly lands. Those moments accumulate, creating a sense of honesty that feels earned rather than manufactured. Inside Out 2 doesn't need spectacle to be memorable. Its strength lies in how accurately it captures the experience of emotional change, reminding viewers that growth is often uncomfortable, but also deeply human. For many, it's a gentle film that leaves a surprisingly lasting emotional imprint.
Welcome! Oh, we're doing a fit. No. Oh, nope, going high. Oh, you got a real sweaty palm there, buddy.
Number 6. Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine never pretends to be a serious film, and that honesty is exactly where its strength lies. From the start, it embraces chaos, self-awareness, and excess, turning irreverence into its defining feature rather than something to apologize for. But beneath the noise, audiences found more than just surface-level spectacle. The dynamic between Deadpool and Wolverine forms the film's core. One is loud, self-referential, and constantly breaking the illusion of cinema itself. The other is restrained, violent, and burdened by history. When these two opposing energies collide, the result is a rhythm that feels unpredictable but deliberate, balancing comedy with flashes of emotional weight. What audiences appreciated most was the film's understanding of its own identity. Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't ask viewers to take it seriously, yet it never treats them lightly. Its humor is sharp, often chaotic, but rooted in a clear awareness of character legacy and fan expectation. The jokes land, not just because they're outrageous, but because they're informed, rather than trying to redefine the superhero genre. Deadpool and Wolverine succeeds by leaning fully into what it is. It delivers a cathartic release, fast, loud, and unapologetic, while still leaving room for moments that feel unexpectedly sincere. For many viewers, that balance made it one of the most memorable and purely entertaining films of the year.
Come on! Yeah, I blew it. After all that, the only thing they're gonna remember is that god-awfulness!
Number 5. Furiosa. A Mad Max Saga. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is not a film designed for comfort. From its opening moments, it pulls the audience into a brutal, unforgiving world where survival is earned through endurance rather than heroism. This is not a flashy expansion of the Mad Max universe, but a grounded physical journey that stands firmly on its own. What resonated most with audiences is the film's commitment to realism within its chaos. Action in Furiosa feels heavy, dangerous, and exhausting. Every chase, every collision, every struggle carries visible consequence. The film avoids unnecessary spectacle, favoring practical movement and tangible impact over stylized excess. That choice gives the violence weight, making it feel earned rather than ornamental. Furiosa herself is not portrayed as a symbol, but as a person shaped by hardship. The film allows her strength to emerge gradually, through resilience and difficult decisions rather than grand declarations. Audiences responded to this approach because it builds credibility. Her determination feels lived in, forged by loss rather than defined by myth. Furiosa doesn't attempt to surpass its predecessors through scale. Instead, it deepens the experience through intensity. For many viewers, it's a rare action film that leaves them physically and emotionally spent, not overwhelmed, but fully immersed, as if they've endured the journey alongside its central character.
All down on top! Replenish!
Number 4. Gladiator II. Gladiator II enters the cinematic landscape carrying an undeniable weight, the legacy of a film that defined an era. Rather than attempting to recreate that legacy through spectacle alone, the sequel takes a more measured, reflective approach, leaning into tragedy, consequence, and the cost of power. What audiences responded to most is the film's focus beyond the arena. While the combat remains visceral and commanding, Gladiator II devotes equal attention to the world behind the spectacle, a place where honor is negotiated, loyalty is fragile, and victory rarely comes without loss. This broader perspective gives the film emotional gravity, grounding its epic scale in human consequence. The pacing is deliberate and confident. Moments of silence are allowed to linger, giving weight to hesitation, grief, and resolve. Rather than racing from one confrontation to the next, the film lets tension accumulate slowly, reinforcing the sense that every decision carries irreversible impact. For many viewers, this restraint is what elevates the experience. Gladiator II does not seek to outshine its predecessor by being louder or larger. Instead, it feels more mature, aware that empires are not remembered solely for their triumphs, but for the sacrifices made in their name. For audiences, it stands as a powerful reminder that true epic storytelling is not just about scale, but about the emotional cost beneath it. Number 3. The Batman Part 2. The Batman Part 2 refuses to follow the familiar path of the superhero genre. It doesn't chase spectacle, humor, or easy catharsis. Instead, it pulls the audience deeper into a Gotham that feels oppressive, morally fractured, and uncomfortably real. A city where justice is never clean and heroism comes at a personal cost. Rather than presenting Batman as an untouchable symbol, the film continues to frame him as a deeply flawed individual. He is driven, obsessive, and isolated, burdened not only by crime, but by the consequences of his own choices. Audiences responded strongly to this portrayal because it feels human. The mask doesn't elevate him above the city, it traps him within it. What sets The Batman Part 2 apart is its commitment to the investigative tone. The pacing is slow, intentional, and filled with tension that simmers rather than explodes. Clues are uncovered gradually, conversations carry subtext, and silence often speaks louder than action. Viewers are asked to engage, to observe, and to sit with discomfort rather than be rushed toward resolution. When the film ends, it offers no easy sense of closure. Instead, it leaves behind lingering questions about identity, responsibility, and the limits of control. For many audiences, that unresolved weight is precisely what makes The Batman Part 2 so compelling. A rare superhero film that prioritizes atmosphere, psychology, and moral complexity over spectacle. Number 2. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning carries a different kind of tension from the moment it begins. This isn't just another mission stacked with higher risks and louder explosions. It feels like a culmination, a film aware that it's approaching the end of a long, relentless journey. What resonated most with audiences is the film's sense of physical reality. The action doesn't rely on excess or digital spectacle. Instead, it feels tangible, dangerous, and deliberately paced. Every chase, every jump, every confrontation carries the impression that failure is not just possible, but imminent. That authenticity pulls viewers in and keeps the stakes grounded. Ethan Hunt, in this chapter, is no longer framed as an invincible force of nature. He appears worn down by time, responsibility, and the weight of past decisions. Audiences connected with this version of the character because it introduces vulnerability without diminishing resolve. The film allows moments of reflection to coexist with its most intense sequences, giving emotional context to the spectacle. Rather than aiming for the biggest finale imaginable, the final reckoning chooses restraint. Its impact comes from cohesion, the sense that every risk taken, every sacrifice made, has been building toward this point. For many viewers, it's not just one of the most thrilling films of the year, but one of the most satisfying conclusions to a modern action franchise. Number 1. Avatar 3. Avatar 3 doesn't claim the top spot because it's the biggest film of the year. It earns it because it's the film audiences carried with them long after leaving the theater. In a year crowded with spectacle, this is the rare blockbuster that resonates through quiet reflection rather than constant escalation. While the world of Pandora continues to expand, the film shifts its focus inward. Visual scale remains breathtaking, but it's no longer the point. Instead, the story centers on connection between people, between generations, and between humanity and the environment it inhabits. Audiences didn't just watch Avatar 3. They returned to it emotionally, as a place that felt familiar, yet evolving. What viewers responded to most is balance. The film moves effortlessly between intimate moments and epic scale, allowing small personal choices to carry real weight within a vast narrative. Every decision feels consequential, not because it's loud, but because it's earned. The spectacle serves the story, not the other way around. Avatar 3 avoids forcing emotion through overt tragedy. Its power lies in patience, letting meaning unfold gradually, allowing themes of loss, responsibility, and coexistence to settle naturally. When the film ends, what lingers isn't the technology or the visuals, but a sense of completion, as if a long journey has reached a meaningful pause. For many audiences, Avatar 3 stands as the defining cinematic experience of 2025, not because it was the most impressive film to watch, but because it reminded viewers that even the largest stories can still feel deeply human. In the end, cinema is not just about spectacle or box office numbers. It's about the moments when a film makes us pause, when it stays with us after the screen fades to black, and when it quietly reshapes how we feel, even if only for a while. This list was never about finding the single best movie by some absolute standard. It reflects something far more personal, the films that truly connected with audiences in 2025. Some thrilled us, some comforted us, some challenged us, and some lingered in our thoughts long after we left the theater. That is the real power of cinema. We may all watch the same film, but we walk away carrying very different experiences. So now, it's your turn. Which movie defined your year? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy audience-driven film discussions like this one, make sure to stay with the channel for what comes next.